so excited because I was like, I I've never like really thought that I was gonna be able to talk to anybody like that because I'm super nervous all the time
Oh,
about talking to people. So um I'm like really excited about this conversation. I've been looking forward to it. My best friend's been looking forward to it, but unfortunately she's not able to make it on this episode, but I'm here. So
okay.
so I'm here. But yes, okay, so welcome to our podcast. It is nice to see you are just as gorgeous
Oh,
as you are on Instagram. That's crazy. And I remember the first time that I saw you, I was like, oh, it's the hair was what caught my attention at first because I'm like, I'm just now starting to want to get into this like lock journey kind of thing. And I was like, oh, I love those locks. They're like the perfect size. That's about the right amount of length. I don't want them no longer than that once they grow. And then I heard you speak for the first time, and I was like, oh, okay. And you picked the perfect name for you speaking, seasoned dialogue, because I never really hear a lot of women specifically have that kind of dialogue, that kind of talk. And it's just really raw and authentic and very powerful. And I just want to say thank you for doing that for all the girlies out there in the world.
you're
We
so welcome.
appreciate you.
Thank
Yes. So, what inspired you to start Season Dialogue?
you. What inspired me? Wow. So I've always like written, just always like poetry, spoken word, and like a lot of people, we have gifts, but we don't know how to exercise our gifts because of fear. I think it was something that I knew and people around me, like my family knew, but anything outside of that, it's like I don't know, showing up different to them was scary. And so, about I say a year and a half, I kept being pressed. I think spiritually to go ahead and move and do something that I knew was innate to me. So, a year and a half ago, that's when I really started to begin writing more and then just speaking more.
Okay, okay. So, I like that you said like you had to move. I don't think a lot of people talk about that. When you branch away from family and friends that you may have known in like your hometown, you kind of become this better version of yourself most of the time because there's not so many distractions or excuses because we use our family and our friends as excuses to not succeed. And so I just been picking up some little P's and Q's from listening to you and I'm hype about it. So like can you can you share with me and everybody that's going to be listening like what was the moment that made you say this is what I want to do?
Mm.
Hmm.
Um, so my husband already knew, he knew this is what I did, and he was like, I'm one of those people, were one of those people who was afraid of everything. And so we had a talk, and he said, if you keep just silencing yourself, you'll never know what it is that you have. And he was like, I'm here. So what are you afraid of? He was like, the biggest monster is somewhere, and you have never seen it yet. So he's like, utilize it. I mean, just speak. The worst thing that can happen is somebody's not gonna like it. And so when I did, it was just like, okay, this feels natural to me. And I think that's what makes me comfortable. I'm not doing anything outside of who I really am. And it just feels good to just be in that space and just honor it. It's like that is what it is. And it's no different, than how I show up every day by myself. But now it's different being outside of it and other people saying it, I guess.
Yeah, you're definitely spot on with that because I feel that way with my wife. It's very different than how I felt a couple years back, which is like really insecure about every little detail of what I'm doing or and I don't know, when I see pages like yours, that really sparks something in me because um I feel like it sparks something in everybody for different reasons. It might be because that situation it might be hitting home a little more than the others. But for me personally, I felt like words are my I feel like words are my space. That's the space that I live in. And I know the power that they hold behind them. I've never been good at math,
Oh,
but I'm good at them words. Okay. I'm great at that. I never failed any of those classes. So,
yeah,
that was something that would really spoke to me and just draws me in. It's just different ways to change your language, your dialogue. And I listen to women like you to inspire me daily and motivate me to really perfect how I want to speak to the world, how I would like for people to hear me. Um, and I thank y'all for that. I really do. I really do.
thank you.
So, like your, can you tell me a little bit about what your healing process has been like through, doing season dialogue?
Wow. So I will say this, and I think this happens for a lot of people. You just get to a point in your life where you realize that the things that you have packed up and put in the back of your head begins to surface at some point where it's extremely noticeable. You can't shake it. It Your attitude is different, your mannerisms are different, the way you communicate with people is different, and it just affects your life. And for me, it was uh my mother and I did not have a good relationship. We were trying to work things out before she passed away. And I think her death really shook me to the core. I think it was one of those things where it was like, it was unexpected. So, with that being said, it's like you realize time is of the essence and you don't have it. And with that, also dealing with other childhood traumas that I had, molestation was one of them. So, it's like, when we're children, when we're going through stuff, like we put that in the back of our head, right? And especially in the dynamic of family, many people in their families are told, we don't speak about this. We keep it silent. And you just know that's just how you navigate through life. And then when you become an adult, and you're going through some things and you're scared to unpack it, and then that moment that it just surfaces, is like, this is why this has been happening, this is why I feel this way, this is why I can't have good communication, i.e. for myself, with women, the fear, this is why I'm afraid of men who look like this. So it was that moment, it compounded, and it was like, oh my God, this is what they call the healing journey, where I need to start afresh. I see these things within myself. I don't want to show up the way that I was showing up. And then on top of that, I have children. So I didn't realize how it impacted them as well. I'm going to tell you something. So a few years ago, after my mom passed, my children saw a difference in me, which was irritated, angry. I was depressed, and I've always had an open like relationship with my kids. So all three of them came to me. They like had a secret meeting, and they came to me and they was like, "Ma, like, you are always on edge." And I think it was my children being honest with me and saying that I was really like the bad apple in the home. It was a darkness that they had never felt, because again, sometimes we're good at hiding things, and for so long they see me one way, and then when this happened, everything came out. And that's when I knew it was my children who told me that things were different, where I was like, okay, I gotta move differently, because I don't want this to be something that they remember for a long time. I just want them to understand it was a moment that happened because of an event. And then mama healed. And therefore, if this ever comes in my life, I can always have counsel from my mother, or I know how to figure this thing on out, because she went through it as well. So yeah, that was a long explanation, but
No, it was, I mean, it was perfect because I was going to ask you to like kind of dive into it a little deeper, but I mean, you answered perfectly. I definitely feel like it resonates with me because my mother also passed away at a
Mm,
time where I feel like I probably needed her most. It was very unexpected as well. I did not know that she was sick,
wow.
the way that she was sick, and she had her liver had failed, and so she passed. I did get to see her, and when I went there, I didn't know how to process any of it. So I didn't cry like after she passed for like a year. And it was like I held it in for an entire year. I just went to work. I went straight to work and I worked for a whole year and no tears, no nothing. I just was partying, young stuff, kicking it with your friends, distract yourself. But one night I just was like by myself and I just like lost it.
Mm,
I just like lost it. And it was just like this really deep grief that I can't explain to anybody because we all have moms that have traumatized us in certain
yeah.
ways, but only because that's what they were taught, you
Woo,
know?
yeah.
So it took me a while to like really figure out that this was only because of the way that she has been taught.
Yeah.
These are because of the things that she had seen. But that does not take away the fact that I still felt like, man, I need my mom here. Like, I'm a little upset that you just left me here with these people. And I don't know what to do with that. But I really did have to do some deep reflecting. And I think that's when my shift started as well. Because for me, all my life, my mom and my grandma have raised me. I've never
Mm,
really known my father like that. Um, but through the journey of losing both of them, because they passed like 2 years after each other. So my grandma went first in 2015, and then my mom went first in 2017.
wow.
And I felt like a little orphan baby floating around. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know where I'm going to go. But, you know, I really believe in ancestors and things of that sort. So with me having to be able to dive, be able to dive deep and really search within myself for healing so that I can enjoy my life
Mm,
and everything that I want for myself, I had to really sit down and start talking to my mom and my grandma again because
mm.
they're never actually gone
That's
and
right.
they live through me.
Yeah.
And I had to realize that they are using my eyes,
Mm,
they use my spirit. If they want to say something, they'll speak through me and they'll make sure that they are being heard. And I hear them sometimes through my own voice and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that I could say that. So I definitely understand. I get it. And I just knew that like my spirit resonated with you, but for a different reason. And the way that you speak your words, it just like really motivates me to want to get there for myself in my way. And I feel like that's what you aim to do anyways. It's just make people feel like you can do this. Like I'm just being me.
yeah.
And ain't nobody gonna be me better than me.
That's
So
right.
that's all that is. So in your opinion, what are like some common misconceptions or challenges people embark when they are starting their healing journey?
Oh goodness. I think a common misconception is that once you heal, you are done. Uh nah. You gonna do some more healing. You may have conquered one maybe issue or something that have plagued you, but as you live, you will find some things that needs to be healed over again. Another thing is that I think that people assume that when you come out of the healing journey, that your coming out will always be a positive thing on the other end. Sometimes out of a healing journey, people become angry because now you found that resolution in some of those situations, but now you're sitting with yourself and now you don't understand who you are, and so that becomes a point of contention. Like, what do I do now? Like, I feel better about this situation, and I understand why it happened, and I think I understand myself, but I'm a little angry now because now what do I do? What resources do I have? Who do I talk to? How long is this process going to be? And then I think another thing, another misconception about the healing journey is that when we heal, we assume that everybody else has the tools to heal as well. And so when someone shares something that may be congruent with ours or similar to ours, and we share the details of our healing journey, we're doing so maybe in an informative way, but sometimes people aren't there yet. And so it may be difficult for them to grasp the concept, or we can't give them the guideline. We may have done such and such, but that doesn't mean that they have to implement the plan the way that we did, because every situation is different. So yeah.
Everybody is different, and I completely agree with you on that because there have been plenty of times. I know there are a lot of people out there who have experienced this. I've experienced this firsthand on having just friends that we both needed to go back to school, and I missed out on school opportunities because my friend was like feeling like she couldn't go back to school because she had kids, and I'm like, girl, you can do this. And when I went back, I still was trying to help her kind of get in there. Um, this is just one example, but this goes for like family and everything because when you do try to explain to your loved ones, whether they're family or friends, that they can do certain stuff and they've never been taught that before, it's like you're an alien, pretty
Yes.
much. You're a foreigner
Yes.
in their, space. And I've had to really learn to do exactly what you pretty much said in one of your podcast episodes. I just like listened to it not that long ago. And you were talking about how if you are heading in a certain direction in your life, it's okay if no one comes with you because
Mhm.
everybody doesn't come with you on your journey.
Can you hear me?
Hello, hello. Yes, no, 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 no. Don't even worry about it. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I can't even, there's nothing that's going to ruin my day. There's nothing. There's nothing. Okay. But yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel like your journey is yours alone. Nobody's is exactly like yours, no matter if their story is exactly like yours. Their path is still different.
Mm, yes.
Yeah. So, okay, last month, I've been waiting to bring this up. So, last month, you brought up this, actually, you posted on Season Dialogue, and it was like written out, and it talked about how another woman's success is
Mm,
beneficial to every single one of us.
yes.
And we don't have that conversation at all. The success of another woman, no matter what race
Right.
or nationality, the success of another woman is another giant step for us as a whole. Because what happens is we look at each other as different, even though
Mm,
we all have like the same body parts. You know what I mean? Like everything works the same. It's pretty weird that we view each other as like separate, but you are absolutely correct in that. And I just want you to dive a little bit deeper into it to further explain it to other people who are listening who don't necessarily understand what that means.
like, listen, one thing I can say about my mother is that she always taught me how to be a woman and to appreciate other women and to look at other women as, if I revere them, that is successful. We don't compete at all. There is no competition. There is no, she's doing better than me. And so now I have this contention for her. Women, like I said in the post, we have, again, the same body parts. We have dealt with some of the same issues. We When I think about a woman, I just think we are so beautiful in so many ways. And so, because of that, there is this sharing that we have. I don't know, you ever got with a whole bunch of women that you like, right? And you feel welcome, you feel loved. There is like this motherly feeling that you'll get from some women, or this intellect. And if we all could put all of that together in a big old circle, how powerful could we all be? So when my sister is next to me, and when I say sister, another woman, I don't care what color you are, when she is next to me and she's doing something that is great and that's powerful, I'm going to revere that. Because, like we were just discussing, there are so many women that I, even when I'm scrolling, I'm like, oh my God, like I love it. Heart, comments, I'm feeding into my sis, because at the end of the day, we don't know what it took for her to even show up that way. And now that she's at that place, it's like, I love you more. You know what I'm saying? And even when we see a sister that is broken, and when I say sister, again, it includes all of us. When I see a woman who is broken, I want to lift her up. I'm not, oh, she's broken. What's wrong? We can't, we cannot be this way. We have, and when I think about women also, I think about historically how we've always been second to a man. And I mean, you think about voting rights, you thinking about the privilege to work. We were always seen as taking care of the kids, not allowing ourselves, society not allowing us to work or get education. And so that empowerment movement of women coming together wanting something huge is something that we need to begin now. But it's a pitting against each other that bothers me so much. And many women don't even know why they don't like another woman. It's maybe an innate spite or jealousy that they have, that they don't even know where it comes from. But when I see another woman, it's like I'm empowered by her. It's all love, and that comes from my heart. Um, so yeah.
I love that answer because you see, just for example, you see these little kids that are, these little girls specifically, that are just now seeing their first ever Black Little Mermaid, and it don't
Yes,
make a difference in their brain. They still want to be the Little Mermaid. Like,
yes,
you know what I mean? Like, it's not in them to just be like, oh, I'm jealous of her because
yes,
she's brown skinned and her voice is prettier than the original Ariel. It's like none of that computes with like little girls when they're
yes.
real small and they don't have to think about stuff like that. That's all put into us later on. And unfortunately, you're right. It is destroying the community that we could have and
Mm-hmm.
that we can still have if people really wake up to just how beautiful this life can be
Yes.
and how working together with each other can really benefit us completely just as a whole. And I love your answer. Okay, get into it. Get into it. So before I let you go, I'm so enjoying this. I like hope that you let me interview you again one day cuz I love this. Um but before I let you go, I would love to know, what would you like to leave the listeners with? What are you leaving me with? Because I love to learn from other women. I feel like we are the greatest teachers. And that's not me being biased, that's just me being honest. I've learned the most from women. We are teachers innately. That's what's in us. So, what would you like to leave with everybody today?
Mm. Oh goodness. Something that I shared today, which is being careful with how we utilize our mind and what we say out loud. And so the first thing that we think of when we start our day, if it's a negative thing, it impacts the way that we feel about things to come in ourselves. We have to align ourselves. And I know that every day won't be a happy, positive day, right? But it begins in us. And so when we were talking earlier about moving into this place that feels good for us, first of all, it starts in your mind and how you speak it out loud to yourself. So if it's anything that you want to do, you want to open up a business, you want to go back to school, um, you know, it's the sky is not the limit. And we limit ourselves when we say we cannot. Cannot is not a word that we should have in our vocabulary. Can is always the push. So if I could leave anything with the listeners, it is to always believe in yourself first. Number two, let's not care about what other people think or how they perceive. Sometimes it's just in our head. Many times people look, this is a country word. They ain't studying us anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not paying us any attention. It's in your head. And number three, you don't know how powerful or how moving or who you are until you step into yourself and realize who you are at the core and you exercise it in whatever gift God has given you. So step out, be yourself, and know that you are all powerful in the gift that you behold within your hands, your mind, and in your mouth.
Yes. Okay, y'all heard it here on In My Sister's Garden podcast from
Yes.
Miss Lisa Marie. Okay. Yes. Check her out on Season Dialogue. You can stream all her episodes on, I'm sure, Apple and Spotify, and all other streaming platforms that podcasts are on. Make sure y'all check her out. Go show some love. And thank you so much for sharing your time and energy with me, Queen. I really appreciate it. I do not take this lightly at all. And you honestly just became even more of my favorite. So just just be ready for me to repost everything that you post.
Oh,
Because I do my best to show support to the ones that I really, really love. And I start to really love people through
yeah.
online. I'm noticing that you can really love people. Like I love you. There's another beautiful writer. Her name is like Ihime
Mhm.
Aura. And she's so,
You got to put me on, sis.
yeah, I'm gonna send her to you because
Okay.
she talks a lot about ancestral roots and how God will work through you through your ancestors. And it's like, I don't know. Y'all are blowing my mind. Y'all just coming out of the woodworks. I'm like, yes, okay, knowledge. I'm learning.
Yeah.
What else is next? But yes, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so, so much.
Yes, thank you. Have a great rest of your day and your week. We're sending you a lot of love. Thanks for coming to In My Sister's Garden, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thank you so much, Queen. I really appreciate you. And I'll cut the video off right there, but I
Okay.
just want to say how much I really, really appreciate you because for you to
Aw.
take the time to really sit down with me and have that conversation, there's a lot of stuff that I needed to hear. And I didn't know you were reflecting like parts of me
Oh,
that I don't get to talk about very often. Like I don't talk about the molestation like as a child and losing my mother and stuff like that. So I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate you.
I think it is. I tell people a lot. Uh, some of us have lived some of the same circumstances and don't even
Hmm.
know. And that is why sharing is powerful. Now, of course, you have to be intentional and have a little bit of discernment of who you share things with.
Hmm.
But so powerful because sometimes it looks good. It looks like they have their life all together and everything was perfect. And then when you dig deeper and you hear what it is that they went through or experienced, it makes you feel seen, heard, and like real. It's like, oh, somebody
Hmm.
experienced this as well. And so embodying that is I don't know, it's just pure. It is what it is. We just never know. We just never know.
Right. Right. Well, thank you for being a truth teller, because
Thank you.
I appreciate that energy. I appreciate that for real. But I'm gonna let you go. I'm not gonna hold up too much more of your time.
So much.
Thank you. All right. Have a great day, Queen.
Bye
Bye.
bye.